Completely mad.
No, you're insane.
Hello, and welcome to The Madhouse, episode 103. I'm Ultimate Spy 53, the host of this podcast, and joining me for this week's episode, I have...
Hello, my name is Chakky. Pleasure to meet you. I'm a weed.
I'm Steven, and I exist. I guess.
I am bigdinoguy here, of course. Although I'm playing a new game called Vanquish.
Oh,
God,
nice.
It's fun.
I've heard of that game. I haven't played it
Hey,
yet,
it's
but I've heard
actually
of it.
pretty fun. I'm shocked.
Hey, wait, is it a game where you're in a jetpack?
Yes and no. You don't have a jetpack per se, but you got like a basically something that helps you drift.
Because I remember playing a demo. I think I remember playing a demo called Vanquish. Maybe it's something else. I don't know. I thought I played a demo. Or
Are
something.
you in a futuristic?
I
Are
remember
you in a futuristic world?
I think so. I remember playing a demo where I was in this like jetpack. I could fly around, or I think it was like a suit of armor. I could fly around. Not armor, but like it was a character in a game, and it was demos. Interesting. So yeah, we're back. We missed a few weeks, but because things didn't work out, scheduling conflicts got in the way. But we are back after a long hiatus. We are sorry. Things get in the way. Actually, I do have an announcement for the podcast. It will no longer be weekly because of the scheduling conflicts that we have with our friends and everything and everyone else. It's going to be turned into a bi-weekly show, just because it's really, really hard to get everyone together every week. And I mean, we love the podcast, but it's really hard. It's almost impossible to get everyone every week. So it'll be shifted from weekly to bi-weekly. So we'll not have a podcast next week, but the week after we'll have a podcast. So if that's okay with everyone else, let's go ahead and get back to the topic at hand, which is trailers. But first of all, anybody who's seen Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom and wants to talk about it, great. Otherwise, if you've not seen it, then we are sorry. But that's the first thing we're going to talk about is Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And Mr. Bigdinoguy himself, who is a dinosaur fanatic, he wants to talk about it. So, what do you think of the movie?
Oh yeah, I definitely want to talk about this movie.
Yes.
I moved a while ago, and I am really a block away from an IMAX theater.
Nice.
The last time I went to see an IMAX show was when I was over in Washington, D.C. with my grandparents. And I just went and saw it myself one day and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I hadn't been to a IMAX showing probably for 5 years before that. But oh my fucking god, this was tremendous. Even the scenes that are, the guy that Jurassic World different reviews on, or not reviews, but information on the actor before it came out, and he's saying he is horror director. That is what he's been working on up until now. He's only done, I think, 6 English films, and most of them were, like 5 of those are horror, and I don't remember, it was like 5 or 6 and so. So he hadn't really done all. He's done a lot of it.
It's a horror movie. Okay.
It was, but it wasn't. It was the only thing that kept it from being R were the lack of curse words and blood. No blood, or actually there was very little.
Yeah.
Still, the original Jurassic Park ish, and the last. Good God, and it was glorious. I love that movie.
Yeah.
I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. And a lot of other reviewers, one of my favorite reviewers of all time, his name is Chris Stuckman. I had watched a video after I came out of the movie, literally hours after, and he was just hating on it, saying that, oh, they didn't have a whole lot of character development and whatnot. And I'm just thinking to myself, I didn't give a shit about the characters in the first film. I don't care about them. Yes, we have Chris Pratt.
I don't care about characters.
He does an amazing job in his roles. He's done fantastic. And as the character that he plays, Owen Brady, in this, they were fun characters, but they didn't have much depth to it, and it doesn't really require that for Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is about the wonderment of, to me, what Jurassic Park has always been is about the wonderment of mankind and us basically proving our power that we cannot control. And the results of that. That is what it has always been. That was what the original book was about.
Selling the message of like, oh, scientists can make dinosaurs. Like, we have 5 movies that prove how terrible an idea that is.
Hey,
like,
I'd still do it.
Terrible idea to unleash dinosaurs upon the world. No, you can't. Don't do that. That's why the movies are there. They tell you why this is bad routine. So, but yeah, I definitely felt with this movie that, like, because I was watching a non-full review for the movie, and I was told that Jeff Goldblum wasn't going to have a whole lot of screen time. He was going to be in there kind of like a cameo, and sure enough, he was. He was in there as his character, but he didn't really have much to say. I mean, he ended the film with "Welcome to Jurassic World," kind of reminiscent of when John Hammond first said, "Welcome to Jurassic Park," and in the first movie, and it's exactly the same way of saying it with this, where he said, "Welcome to Jurassic World," because now the dinosaurs are literally among us, and it's terrifying, but it's also freaking awesome because it's like, yeah. But I think my favorite character, favorite character has got to be the little girl, who I think the British girl. I don't know who really. I think she's like the granddaughter of John Hammond's partner when they work for InGen. Yeah. And she was so cute, but also I think the most badass character, because like in terms of dinosaurs, because they had in the previous movie they had the Indominus Rex, and in this movie they had the Indoraptor. Oh my god! Good gracious, that guy's
was awesome.
Terrifying. Like the sergeant guy, whoever his name is, she's like, oh, I'm gonna play with the dinosaur. He's not gonna kill you. Oh god! And then he just like decides to he's dead. I think that people because I've seen a lot of movies like this where people are like saying, oh, it's run its course, like the last Pirates movie that came out last year, and this movie, it's like, oh, the movie's run its course. It's like, maybe so and maybe not so. I don't agree with the fact that this movie.
It has in a couple of ways. To me, the thing with them being at the park, I don't like them being in the park itself anymore. Because yes, that aspect of it has, and you know how much of a fanatic I am of the series, but even that part has just. We've already seen it all. We've already seen, oh, they get out. What can we do? Can they do next? Well, you know what's the most logical step? They get out. That happens in zoos from time to time, and shit happens that way, or whatever happens. This is just the same thing on a global scale.
Exactly, yeah. And I just feel like
I think that it actually adds a lot more to the series. Yeah. I think that it was part of, and this is not as a dinosaur fanatic that I say this. I'm saying this purely as a reviewer in this instance.
Yeah.
That it didn't take away from the film. It actually added to it. And it added a lot of depth. And especially that girl that you're mentioning, Maisie.
Yeah.
She added a lot of depth to it. Not exactly the most.
That twist.
She doesn't have a whole lot of depth.
It's like, oh god, she's a clone. But I didn't realize that. I'm like, oh wait. She's just a cute little girl. No, she's more than that. She's a freaking clone. Oh my god.
I'm
like, what?
I saw that coming.
Yeah, I will say though, seeing the original Jurassic Park, great movie and all, but I will say I didn't like it in terms of what it was setting up for, in terms of it's not really, I felt like the first one wasn't really a park, more like a reserve, and that world was more like a park. I'm not saying they're both really good movies, but Park was more like a reserve for dinosaurs, and that world was more like an actual park, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like each movie it's as good in its own way. Like 3 was not the best, actually pretty bad.
3 don't.
I saw an
don't
honest.
You dare get started on 3.
I saw an honest trailer where they made fun of the movie by putting the dinosaur saying Alan, and I'm like, oh yeah. I mean, it wasn't the worst movie of all time, but it was definitely not the best in the series. It had some good points, but it was just like, I felt like it wasn't...
It's not the worst movie ever made. I mean, if you want to talk about the worst movie ever made, good God. I can go on for days about one fucking film.
But yeah, I felt like the third one was... It was interesting. I don't know, I felt like... Because I'm not saying it needed to happen, but I felt like it was a good setup for the trilogy. And then this new trilogy is it's... I don't know, I think every Jurassic Park movie is interesting in its own way, but people are like, oh, it's the same thing. Dinosaurs, things happen to go wrong, and dinosaurs are people. Not necessarily. They had to rescue the dinosaurs. That was a completely different matter. That didn't happen in the previous ones. For the first World War movie, they had a new park. In the third one, they had to go get their son. The second movie, I had that two teams against each other. In the first movie, he was a reserve. So they're not reusing the same plot. My dad thought the fifth one was using the same plot. It's like, oh, things go wrong, dinosaurs are now, whatever. It's like, not really.
A lot of movies, they have very similar plots.
Yeah.
It's really what makes them different are the characters and the overall thing.
Didn't The Force Awakens basically do that?
For Empire, yeah, a little bit, yeah. It's a good point, yeah. Well, I mean, like, yeah, a lot of movies that are coming out, especially for sequels, and it's something I want to talk about as a matter of this podcast, is the fact that people are getting tired of sequels. I mean, I'm personally not, but I feel like a lot of people, because especially the reviews that are saying this, like, people are getting tired of sequel after sequel, like Mission Impossible 6 like, nobody wanted Mission Impossible 6. I do. I love that series. My favorite action series, because it's like a James Bond thing.
But they're disappointed when it just starts to become accepted and they just stop putting effort into it.
So tired of them. People want more original ideas, and they don't want sequels. Some movies, like Incredibles 2, that was an example of a movie that took forever to get here, and we needed a sequel. But
we've been asking for.
And that finally came out, but I feel like it's been a problem for the mainstream Hollywood industry that people just get tired of it. It's like, oh, this is another blank again. Like, really, you need this? Well, not necessarily, but it's fun. I guess it's like people are getting tired. It's like, should sequels exist anymore? Is there any point in them? I mean, I personally like them, but people are getting tired of them.
For me,
so
here's my thing on just Jurassic World in general.
Yeah.
This is as a dinosaur fanatic and as a reviewer. Okay, the dinosaur fanatic in me that has absolutely been enjoying the series for many years because it was so growing up, the original movie that got me into dinosaurs, like, cemented my already huge fascination for the animals, was the movie Dinosaur. That was with Aladar and whatnot. It was a Disney film.
Oh yeah.
That's what cemented everything. I already knew that I loved them, but it was like, oh,
we're not talking about the Pixar movie. We're talking about the original Disney movie before Pixar made their own. Because there's the Disney Dinosaur and there's Disney Pixar Dinosaur, right?
No, there was just a Disney Dinosaur.
Well,
I think a good dinosaur.
Pixar made. Oh, no, Good Dinosaur. Okay, there's a word that was missing there. The Good Dinosaur. That's the Pixar movie. But Dinosaur, we're talking about. Okay.
So what I'm saying is, this series not only has it been a fantastic one for many generations, even the third one in a lot of ways. Well, a lot of ways. I say that very loosely. Even the third one in some ways, it was defining for a generation in one way or another. The Jurassic World, it was far from the perfect movie. Far from. You had a couple of characters that were whiny that had no business being there. The one little whiny dude that was like some hacker. Okay, you bring a hacker guy that's just an intern to a remote island with dinosaurs that has no to keep people on multiple occasions and just screams at everything. They're like, oh, you know the system. Oh, but Claire already does. And they say that in the film. Why the hell bring him?
Yeah.
Why the hell have him or the doctor lady? She did something, yes. But at the same time, Jurassic World is such an important film to them have been, or all four of them, my apologies. All four of them have been in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Some people even like three the most. I don't. Yeah. I hate it. The only thing that I love about it were two scenes: the Pteranodons and the Spinosaurus. The Spinosaurus, because that's my all-time favorite dinosaur of all time. It's like, oh,
wait,
okay. But
I thought you said the Spinosaurus. That doesn't make sense.
Senpai noticed.
Yeah, Spinosaurus. That is what it's called.
Is that the? I'm forgetting my breeds here. Sounds like I can't remember what dinosaur that is.
It's got a tail on its back. Remember the thing that was hunting them?
Oh, okay. The spikes on the back. Okay, got it.
But this one, it was tugging at my heartstrings and was bringing us back to what Jurassic Park was. It was about the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Yes, it was also, it's about the dinosaurs, and it was also about what happens when you fuck with nature. It's the same thing that happened in this one, but it escalated it. It brought it onto a global scale, not just to a few people.
Yeah.
It showed what happens if you fuck with nature when you try to control it.
Yeah.
It happens. That's what happened in the original film. That's what happened in this film. But in this film, not only did they... You don't need the humans. I don't give a shit about the humans.
Yeah.
I don't go there to see Claire and Owen. Oh, they're going to running right across the screen. No, that's not why I go to see a Jurassic Park movie. I go to see what happens and along showcasing both beauty and destruction. This movie, it was tugging at my heartstrings the entire way through.
Yeah.
The stuff was blue. That was
Amazing. I will say though that
no matter what you think of the movie, you've got to admit that the scene with the Brachiosaurus.
that was on. That's all I was wanted to real quick talk about was that when the Brachiosaurus got left
what
behind.
it did in that scene though, right?
What was
Every
it?
single movement that it did, every single movement that dinosaur did when the island was falling around.
Yeah.
It's the same movement, like pick by pick of when the Brachiosaurus first appeared in Jurassic Park.
Oh wow. Oh, that's true.
Because
I
the
remember.
Brachiosaurus, it walks over and makes the exact same moan, goes to the side, you see it, it lifts up on his hind legs.
Yeah, I know I see it. I
It's
can, yeah, I totally see that resemblance. Yeah, I definitely feel like that when we first see the Brontosaurus in Fallen Kingdom, it looks amazing because CGI, obviously they've gotten CGI look amazing, and when you see them behind,
this one they had a lot more practical effects.
yeah, they had CGI when they needed to, but they used a lot more practical effect, which is fantastic. I think the T-Rex scene when Owen was trying to get the blood from the T-Rex, that was a animatronic, and it was terrifying. It was so, oh my god! Like just like the girl next to me, or 2 rows and bust to me, or right to me was like she was screaming in her seat. She was terrified of that because he was like, oh no, and I'm like, oh god, because T-Rex is like sleeping and they gotta like get the blood from the T-Rex. It's terrifying, but it's also awesome. So, but yeah, in general,
It's supposed to be like, ooh,
yeah, of course.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
And there's running and
Screaming.
Screaming.
I will say though, I was confused why the Indoraptor was tapping its feet. Is that a thing that raptors do, or?
You have seen the original movie, yeah?
Yeah, I have sometimes. Yeah.
You remember the raptor in the kitchen?
Yeah. It was what like they were like.
Why?
I thought isn't it like that tracking the characters? Tracking
they didn't, as far as I know, they didn't do it in real life. I highly doubt that they did. That was really just a callback to the raptor in the kitchen. The exact same thing when they had Maisie trying to
like I was wondering if they were like tracking her or maybe calling another raptor or whatever. That didn't make sense, but maybe they're just calling back to that.
That's it. Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, I thought it was something about like it's tapping its feet or its claws so it can track Maisie or whatever. But it turns out
no,
that probably makes sense. When like it's probably just a callback to the first movie. That actually does make sense. But yeah. Overall, as a first impressions review, because I'm starting to do that a little more on my channel, what do you think of the movie? Like, give it any. Let's say you're out of 5 stars on your channel. What would you give it? And just overall, any thoughts? Maybe it was how would you compare on the scale of on that 5 because there's 5 movies so far? What would you rate it? What?
So, in my opinion, this is actually my second favorite Jurassic Park movie. And I say that with a grain of salt because it's very close between the second and this film as being my all-time favorites. I absolutely adore the series, obviously. I mean, it's very important to me, not only as a dinosaur fanatic, but also as just a casual reviewer.
Yeah.
I mean, doing stuff like this on this channel, on my own channel. I know I haven't done anything in a while, but that's because I need to find some more. I need to find some stuff in order to get everything working again.
Yeah.
Then I lost some shit. So it's gonna be a while. But still, it's just the Adventure Jurassic Park. It's very close to me for also personal reasons that I'm not going to go into. So just all around amazing masterpiece. The second one, it was entertaining. I liked it. I liked some of the scenes. It brought some more cheers, but it's still a little lighthearted.
Yeah.
Third one,
Alan! Alan!
Alan!
That was creepy.
Alan!
That was so terrifying. They had to do that. They just had to make him hallucinate dinosaur.
Oh my god. But it still has some things, but nothing that's gonna scare the crap out of you.
Yeah,
Nothing like that. Then you have Jurassic World. Okay, it's a good blend. It's between second and third one. It's definitely not the best of the entire series. It's not 3 times in the theater, but that was also because I had some personal stuff going on. And I was just like, I gotta watch a movie. Yeah, I love that one the first 2 times. Might as well see it, but But
Yeah.
still, it's still an entertaining movie for the most part. You don't give a shit about the kids. Owen is a fun character.
You don't give a shit about the kids.
Yeah.
And it has some lighthearted moments. This one, it did a 180 on Jurassic World, and yet it made up for the mistakes that Jurassic World did. It made up for having the Indominus shitter. It made up for all the hybrid talk and whatnot.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
is actually that Jurassic Park has always been, because this is the thing as a dinosaur fanatic as well, that every single animal that they showcase, for the most part, except for the Brachiosaur, would look completely different. The velociraptors that were made famous, and the term raptor, owl is a raptor, hawk is a raptor,
Okay, I can see that.
because you can tell by their talons. If you
Oh.
look at their claws, hey, those are raptor talons and behaviors and whatnot, and yeah. But then when Jurassic Park came out, the reason why Steven Spielberg made the velociraptors look that way is because a Utah raptor had just been found. It's like,
Yeah.
I hate the name Utah raptor. They use the name Jurassic Park in there, even though they're literally just the size of dogs, like medium-sized dogs. Maybe a large cat, but not much bigger than that. So he just took the name. Velociraptor and slapped it on the Utahraptor.
Yeah.
That was all that he did. That's why they looked that way. And not only that, but all the animals, the T-Rex and whatnot, they were supposed to have feathers, but that was a new theory at the time, and yada yada yada. Anyway, but still, they said, hey, this is genetic modification. That's why. That makes up for it in a lot of ways. But with the Indominus, I thought that just took it too far. No,
Yeah.
it didn't quite feel right. It was okay, but it just wasn't. It wasn't the Jurassic Park that I wanted. It didn't feel like it was really necessary. Weird ass T-Rex on steroids.
Yeah.
I didn't like the Indominus, and it had a couple of good scenes. I mean, when it first breaks out of the cage, oh my god.
Yeah.
It broke out of the cage. Don't get Owen. He's the only good character in this movie.
Yeah. Or
Owen.
when Claire was running away from the original T-Rex in her heels.
Oh,
Wow. She's fast. Like, how can you run away when I was on your heels? That's crazy.
Movie magic.
Yeah.
Keep them off and run. The thing with this one, it made the first one worthwhile. It made everything that if that's what I'm doing this. Not only a review, but also just a common film goer.
Yeah.
In this one, it made up for it. And to me, that's worth it. It was worth the wait, and I think that this is the kind of movie that I was wanting from World. This is the kind of movie that I was expecting from World. I was expecting one where you see life get fucked up because we made mistakes.
Yeah.
That was it. I didn't want to see a whole love story. I didn't want to see all that jazz. It had some good scenes. The velociraptors running around Owen, that was awesome to see. But aside from that, I didn't give a crap.
Yeah.
You know, this made it worthwhile. And to me, that's
yeah.
That's what I enjoyed.
I will say though, with Fallen Kingdom, I did see a lot of Easter eggs from the first movie. In particular, when the island is exploding and they run away from the dinosaurs, that's directly lifted out of the scene of the original Jurassic Park where they're running away from the dinosaurs. Yeah, it's the exact same scene except like it's like new. It was so interesting.
Oh yeah.
I just felt like it was fantastic that they did that, and there's a lot of throwbacks to the original, like Hammond's
Right.
staff with the amber in it. Also an Easter egg, and just in general, there's a lot of like everything Jurassic Park is from this movie. And I mean, you gotta have some reference to the previous movies somehow. So, yeah, I mean, especially Ian Malcolm come back. Although it was brief, it was still fun to see him because he's an original character. I like the fact that they connect the movies. It's wonderful. So, that's all I can say about Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. In my opinion, I think it was a brilliant movie. I think that it like 9 out of 10 for me as a first impression review. I'll probably get a regular review eventually, but just basically
Well,
near
3 out of
perfect.
5 because
Yeah.
it wasn't perfect, but sure as hell
Near
was better
perfect,
than
so-
the world.
Very, very, very good, but not perfect, but still not bad. But really really enjoyable. Like it was really entertaining. It was very tense and scary and really. I mean, when I say scary, I mean like because the jump scares are not necessarily jump scary, but like it's more like it's a thriller. And it's like, oh god, I think they're gonna die, kind of thing. And it's like, so there's a lot of tense moments. It's scary in the idea of that the dinosaurs can kill you, basically. So that's all I can really say about that. So moving on from that topic, we were behind on a lot of things from outside of podcast, and there's a lot of trailers that hit, and I'm really excited to talk about them. The first one is Wreck-It Ralph 2. I'm excited for it because we finally have a a proper Disney crossover. So what do you guys think of that trailer? If you guys saw it.
When's the Robin the sequel?
I also just recently saw that trailer when
Yeah.
I saw Incredible 2 just now.
Yeah.
Which is another thing we gotta talk about.
Oh, yeah.
So I kept ranting about Jurassic
Yeah,
World.
we can talk about that after this trailer.
So anyway, yeah, that's the only time that I ever saw it, the first one. I haven't seen it since then, but I've been trying to find it and just haven't had the opportunity. Was when I was on a date with an ex-girlfriend of mine. That was our one and only date. That was the only time I ever saw the movie. It was fun, but I haven't had a chance to see the movie lately. Like before I girl I'm engaged to right now. I mean, what? but yes, I'm engaged.
Congratulations!
Yeah.
But
So,
anyway, with Wreck-It Ralph, that was still a fun movie, and I remember it now. It was a very memorable film, just as it was. The thing with that, though, was it had a lot of callbacks to old films and property, or not films, but old video games. Cubert, that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But I hope that this one doesn't become the next Emoji movie. I haven't seen Emoji movies. I've seen enough
Never
of the
seen it
trailers
before.
for enough that I know what it's
I didn't
about.
even bother with
and I
it.
know-
I saw like a video
Oh,
of it was basically it was like the emoji movie except without the emojis. It was like the only way you can it's actually watchable is just the human characters. It's like a 7-minute video of just like no emojis in the movie, and it's the only part of the movie that's worth watching because the rest of it's shit. So just watch it if you want to watch a movie that's watch a terrible movie. It's like this movie that sucks. Watch this movie, but it's better because it doesn't have any emojis. So
But
yeah,
but I just hope that it doesn't disappoint because
totally. Yeah.
and most films that I've seen in recent years that I have a lot of this is like takes to the game. We want to be like those cool kids, quote unquote. The people where I don't like that. I don't like having that in my movies. I hope that they don't follow that formula. I think they still stay close, and I hope that they. Yes, it would be awesome to see them poke fun at it, but I don't want to see all lovey-dovey like, oh, so we're gonna get so woke tonight, aren't we? Get to the game. God, I don't want to see that. Disney, that would be enough, but anything beyond that.
Yeah, I mean,
don't be product placement.
yeah, definitely. I think that with this movie because I'm a big princess nerd. I love princesses, and I think it was really interesting the way they were able to incorporate all the living princess actors and new ones, of course, and even the ones I don't really consider princesses, like Pocahontas and Mulan. I don't really consider them princesses. Really.
The princess.
Even though they're in the line, I don't really count. I don't consider them because they don't really Anyway, point is that it was really cool to see them in the movie as 3D characters.
The
Because
those bad Disney princesses out
I
there.
know, but I don't really feel like.
Suck it,
Anyway,
Anna.
point aside, I think it's really cool that I think it's really cool that Disney is doing a crossover like this because it's never happened before. Never gotten a actual proper Disney crossover. Well, I mean, they did that with Avengers, but that was I mean, it's technically Disney, but it's like a different company, so it's not the same. So
essentially,
and Disney owns them, but it's not the same. So this is the first like actual Disney
anyway,
crossover.
that
There's so much in the movie that I saw. It was like Star Wars Land. There was Pixar Land. There was eBay or no, the Muppet Show. I can't remember all of them, but all the stuff that the Disney owns right now. They had Twitter. That was fantastic. They had YouTube. So essentially, if you think about it, we're in the movie.
It's like product placement hell. I can definitely see that.
If you think about it with YouTube and being in the movie, we are actually technically in the movie. Technically. It's pretty funny that way.
Now where are fucking royalties?
Yeah, so but they also like Google, Snapchat. I think Twitter was the funniest one. It's like actual birdies. I don't know. Like I feel like it's really interesting to see this kind of thing happen. Just seeing a sequel because like the second one's coming out 6 years after the first one, and the timeline is 6 years after. That's pretty nice. But in general, I'm looking forward to it because I'm a big princess nerd. I love princesses, and I'm just really interested to see where it's gonna go because I can't wait for it because it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be really interesting because the first one had done with video game, the second one's gonna be internet, and now people are like, "Oh, what's next? Real life?" Probably not. I don't think it would go that far, but just in general, I don't know what to say about it. I'm excited for it. I'm definitely excited for it. I think it'll be a really fun movie. I think it'll be better than the first one because the first one was really good, but I think I think the second one is gonna be better because oftentimes sequels are always better than the first one, depending on the series. It really depends. But in this case, I feel like the second will be better because I don't know, just based on trailer, it looks like it'll be
I don't know.
because of the pop culture references. There's all these pop culture references, and I think that'll be really fun to watch. So I don't know. What do you guys think of this trailer for Wreck-It Ralph 2? I mean, hopefully you guys have seen it by now. I know that Big Guy has, but
It seems interesting.
yeah,
I'm just afraid that they're going to go down the emoji route.
yeah.
Pretty much. That's pretty much it. Otherwise, it's pretty good.
What do you think, Chakky, about this trailer?
I must be. Does Wreck-It Ralph need a sequel?
Yeah, a little bit. It was really good.
I don't know.
I don't know. Do you?
I agree. I don't think that it needs it, but if they pull it off good, then they pull it off good. You know.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the requirement. I don't think that there was really. Yeah, they gained ground, but if they don't, then it wasn't needed. You know.
Yeah.
Because to me, that from what little I do remember of it, it was still a fun movie.
Definitely.
Like I said, I've only had a chance to see it once, but I still remember it. And this is like what 5, 6 years ago.
6 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So I still remember it pretty damn well. I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, that says a lot about the movie. You know?
Yeah.
So, that kind of shows that it's not that bad.
No, not at all. It's especially if you're like a classic arcade person, you really love those old arcade games. You understand them because I mean, I didn't grow up on arcade games, but I did play them occasionally, and they were fun. And so seeing this would be really interesting because they want to make it more pop culture references, and I think that's really really interesting. So, but yeah, Chakky, do you have any opinions about this trailer? Do you want to see it? I mean, even if you don't see it, are you still going to see it when it eventually does come to digital?
If it happens to be on TV, I might watch it.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about it. I feel like trailers are hard to talk about because there's only so much you can see it. But just from what I've seen, I will say that the first trailer, I saw of it was actually really funny because it was really dark and it's like, oh, the bunny gets all the pancakes, the waffles, and now he's floating. And then it turns out that it's like, oh, we dead. Like, no, it regenerates. Don't worry. And then the girl that screamed looks like a young Moana. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, she did.
I don't know if that's on purpose, but she definitely looked like that. Yeah, just in general, I'm excited for it. I'm really looking forward to it. I always feel like watching trailers in the big screen, even though I've seen it on a phone or whatever, or a computer. It's always better to see it in the theater because you get that experience of seeing it with everyone else. Because
Well, personally, I don't really like. I like doing it, but I don't because I've already seen the Wreck-It Ralph trailer a few too many times for my taste,
yeah,
and I'd already seen it both in the theater, and I've seen it on my computer as well, and I've already seen it enough. But
yeah.
it comes a time when you see the trailer too many times that you're just like, oh, I know the whole movie now.
It's the same
Let's
thing
do
with
it.
Mission Impossible 6 or Fallout in this case.
Oh,
They
yeah.
kept playing that trailer. I do want to see it when it comes out, but I don't want to keep seeing the same trailer. And so it's like, I will see it, just don't keep reminding me. I'll see it, just wait.
Mm-hmm.
Then they keep playing the same trailer. It's like, yo, Mission, we just sent it. I get it. They're making another Mission Impossible movie. I get it. I'll see it, but
Yeah,
not.
they want you to
if they,
accept it.
they want me to see it, but it's like the same trailer over and over again. I think it was the fact that they played the first trailer over and over again. It's like, we get another one. It's like, here we go, another one. All right, cool. And then they're like, okay, now with the second trailer. Great. We now have the second trailer. Keep playing it every time I go to the theater, and they keep doing it. It's like it's like I will see it because I'm a big Mission Impossible fan. But like, if they keep playing the trailer over and over again in the same every time I go to the theater, it's gonna get annoying. I remember when the Dunkirk trailer, they played like 2 times in a row when I was seeing it in theater. It's like, are you serious? It's like, but yeah, in general, I'm excited for this movie. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome. Not much to say about it. I definitely think that the Alan Tudyk character, the search bar guy, sounds pretty funny. I really think I think that the really interesting thing about that character is the fact that when he's looking like shocked, it's because he's found something very dirty. And I think the reason why in the trailer of Wreck-It Ralph 2, you see at the search bar, you see that purple guy, voiced by Alan Tudyk. He's like the search bar guy. They talk to him, and when he
he played the freaking chicken, right?
well, he played he played also the Candy King or Turbo in Wreck-It Ralph 1. But in this movie, he plays the search engine Nowhere or whatever his name is. And when he looks up crazy stuff, he's like, and the idea is that like he's looking at some kind of like dirty thing. That's the theory. I don't know for certain, but it's like some really, really inappropriate thing that they apparently has seen, which is why he's so shocked. I don't know exactly what it is, but it just goes to show you that Disney can be very dirty and dark.
You just now found that out.
Yeah, it's like
Their most popular movies of all time are literally about someone having their stepmother trying to kill them.
yeah.
Yeah, they can be a little dark.
Yeah,
Not
a
only
little
that,
bit.
but do you know what the source material for most of those films are?
Yeah.
Most of them are Brothers Grimm's tales. So, I mean,
Wow.
take Cinderella, for example. What happened in the original show afterwards was...
The stepmothers cut their toes off. Ooh.
and then Snow White, the original prince,
I can't remember.
the original prince raped Snow White.
Oh, yeah.
And she didn't wake up until she was having the children.
Oh god.
In the middle of freaking film.
Damn. Disney. Original Disney is dark. Movie Disney,
That wasn't written
animated
by
Disney.
That was written by the Brothers Grimm.
I'm saying like they Disney adopted it less dark.
Yeah. So if you are just now finding out that hey, they can be a little dark and demented on occasion.
Yeah.
You like that, bub.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I can only say I'm excited for it. I think it could be awesome. I look forward to the princesses, I look forward to the pop culture, Disney, owned stuff that they show in the movie. I'm hoping they show a lot of, Marvel stuff. I don't know what they'll show, but I'm looking forward to it. I think that eBay, a lot of the first show that stuff was actually pretty funny. Like, these 6 child stars are famous. Guess what? I don't know. I don't remember exactly what it said, but it was like, oh god. But anyway, I think that's all I can say about Wreck-It Ralph 2. Looking forward to what's coming out November 2nd, so keep it on your calendars. Whether or not you see the theater or not, just make sure you see it. So, I just came back, I think a couple nights ago from Incredibles 2, my second screening of it. I saw the double feature for the first time. It was awesome, and I got to see the second one a little later than that. Wow. Great movie. Honestly, I think it's one of the Pixar's best movies, sequels ever. Seriously, it's wonderful. If you are an Incredibles fan, you'll love it. It picks up right after the end of the first one, and basically not spoiling too much of it. It's basically narrated from the perspective of Tony, the boyfriend of Violet, who saw the first movie. It basically just picks up right after that. They're basically going to fight the Enderman. That's basically. I'm not going to say anything more than that because the rest of you haven't seen the movie. But basically, it picks up right after the first one, where they're basically about to fight the Enderman. That's basically it. And I will say though, if you're going to see the movie and you're sensitive to photosensitive epilepsy, there's just a lot of scenes where there's a lot of flashing lights because the villain is a character who does that. I will warn you that if you see the movie, be warned. If you are sensitive to that, don't make sure you be careful about what you're seeing. If you aren't, you don't care. If you can handle it, cool. Otherwise, it's just a fair warning.
So real quick as well, can I do a little bit of a disclaimer on there too? So I'm saying this because my father, he actually has epilepsy himself, and so I've also seen him be so sensitive to things like that with the flashing lights and video games. That's why he can't play video games. And when they were saying that, so if we have any listeners or viewers of this podcast that have epilepsy and whatnot, if you have severe epilepsy, then you might want to stay away, or at least like close your eyes or something like that. They did have some flashing lights stuff. So that when I was watching, it was like, okay, this is getting a little too much. But at the same time, it was
tolerable.
It's watchable, but just be wary.
Be wary. Actually, it was interesting because when I saw the movie for the second time, they put that warning on the screen. Like, oh, that's new because that's what the
because some parent actually wrote a letter to them. And was complaining, and kudos to very very much big kudos to Disney and having the responsibility of taking care of that.
Is that what happened?
Seriously.
Maybe they fixed it by putting a little disclaimer at the front before the movie.
That's why it's there now because the mother was complaining and whatnot, and I wrote a letter to them, and automatically like, oh yeah, let's put that on.
Oh wow. Okay. Interesting. But I will say though about the short that played before Incredibles 2. What the hell? I was so confused, but also I was like, I felt bad for the guy. Basically, there's a short that plays before Incredibles 2 called Bow, and it's about I think it's in Japan or China. I don't know what the setting is, but basically about this kid who makes this dish or whatever. He makes little like roll thingies, and it turns out one of them is a living food. It's a baby little roll thing, and instead of eating it, he grows it up, and then he becomes a teenager, and then he eats it. Very sad, and then it's just a really weird short. I mean, Disney Pixar is known for their short. Every film you see, they have a short, but like this one, wow, it was interesting. It was a very sad, but also just like a WTF, like what? I think the lesson's like don't eat your kids or something like that, because they basically just did that.
No, that's not what it
was weird.
Really was. I've always spoken far too much for this. I just want to say a couple things I can, but that's not what it was. Essentially, it was for the parents, because it was showing the island, so there were a lot of parents and younger kids, not.
Yeah.
Okay, parents, I understand if you have little kids, definitely go and see a movie, but at the same time, I guess I just went to the wrong showing. The only chance I had to. But anyway, no, it was showing that guy, that was actually his son. Yeah. That dumpling was supposed to represent his actual kid that he had. Wow. He was making dumplings, and one day he had a kid. He made
by accident a little baby dumpling.
And accident their kid.
Yep.
When also you see at the very end when whatever happens, I don't want to spoil it for the people that haven't seen it, because it's actually, to me, it was a beautiful. Rather beautiful. I really enjoyed it.
It was interesting. Definitely interesting.
What are you talking about?
It's a short. It's called Bow. It's short. The place before Incredibles 2. I'm not gonna go. We're
Yeah,
not
it
gonna
was
keep.
short that they were playing before Incredibles
Yeah,
2.
we're not gonna keep going into it, but definitely interesting. But as for the movie itself, without saying anything, I don't want to go spoilers because for those of you who haven't seen it yet, but it was honestly a really well done movie. It had a beautiful animation style, gorgeous animation style. It we got to see Jack's new powers because that was used in Jack Attack on the DVD of Incredibles 1, and we never really got to see what his powers are. But I will say it's one of the funniest Pixar movies that they've made. It's hilarious, especially when Jack has powers. It's so funny. It's hilarious.
It's the best character.
He's just like, he's so funny. And the Mirage isn't in the movie, weirdly enough. I thought she was going to be in the movie. I'm going to spoil because we kind of knew what was going. No one. We didn't. Plus, it's not really spoiled because we didn't hear anything about her casting, so we didn't even know she was going to be in the movie, and she was not in the movie because, again, we didn't hear anything about Mirage being in the movie, so not really a thing. But still, I think that was a very interesting movie. I don't know what to say about it. I just think it was really funny. It had amazing animation styles. It had a really interesting story. I don't know. I feel like it was about time because, again, this movie almost took 15 years to make because Toy Story 4 was supposed to be released this year, and then this movie was released next year, but they fell the dates, and so it's how it happened. And I think Brad Bird almost never made the sequel. He's like he didn't want to make a sequel, but fans demanded it. Fans wanted it. Like, we have a cliffhanger here. It's a big cliffhanger. Come on. It is like he finally got his act together. Like,
he wanted it, actually. He did.
Years.
But he the reason why it took so long was because he said that if he ever made another movie, this is in his own words, he said that if he ever made another one, he's going to make sure that they do it right and it's actually worth it. That's why, because he wanted to make sure that he had a good movie that is worth having a sequel.
Yeah,
exactly. We keep saying, like, on this podcast multiple times, why have sequels? Why have sequels? Other people say sequels aren't really worth it. Why have them? You know? He wanted to be sure that it was worth the money for people to go and see. He wanted to be damn sure that it was worth for fans to actually enjoy it. That's why it took so long. Exactly. It wasn't at all as I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, from his words, and also to have that same brother Scott Jackson and the other guy, he's still talking like, it's because we were trying to be sure we were doing something right.
Exactly. Yeah. I just felt like it was worth it. It was definitely worth it, and they just did a wonderful job at it. They made it funny. They made it just like, honestly, really darn amazing. And there is a cliffhanger at the end of the movie for a potential threequel, a third one. Again, we don't know if it's going to happen for a while. It could be 10 years from now, but there is a cliffhanger at the end of the movie that sets up for a possible third film, but I'm not going to tell you what that is because you're going to see it. But I will say, though...
Well, was there a post-credit scene?
Yeah, there's a end credit scene for them. It's not really an end credit scene, but like an end credit animation that just kind of flows by, and it shows a thing that could be set up for a possible third movie if they were around to making it. I mean, the second one just came out, so they're really wild. But I will say that because of the time between movies, the animation is way better. Like the fire effect for Jack looks way better. All the stuff that you see from the previous movie, the animation obviously look spot on, but like in general, the powers and the effects and all that stuff look way better. Like, it looks intense, and I'm just really happy with it. I'm really happy they made a sequel. Plus, they made a tie-in game, the first Disney Lego game they've made, called The Incredibles, which combines the first two movies, released on the day of, obviously, but it's an actual Incredibles video game, Lego, and it's gonna be. I haven't played the game yet, but based off, I've seen like little bits of it, but it looks like really fun actually. We talked about I think the last episode we talked about that, and honestly, I think it's gonna be looks really interesting because, you know, Marvel's done the same thing with Powers and they did it pretty well. So, but to be honest, I think this movie was worth it. Honestly, it was fantastic. They had the same scoring, they had the same logo. Although I will say, a lot of people are complaining like, oh, why did they get rid of the? Well, if you think about it this way, a lot of films, series, they like, for example, The Maze Runner. I haven't seen The Maze Runner, but I've heard a lot about it. They took after the first one, they call it The Maze Runner, and then they dropped the. It isn't unusual for that to happen. For a lot of sequels, it is pretty normal for a sequel to just drop the. It doesn't happen all the time, but occasionally there will be a sequel where they'll just take out the. That's normal. It's a bit weird because people keep calling it The Incredibles 2. It's called Incredibles 2. No the. It's weird, but it's pretty normal because a lot of series do that where they just drop the. And that's honestly, that's fine. I didn't mind. It was a sequel we deserved, and I think it was well done. Especially if you're an Incredibles fan. They don't really have the same jokes as the first one, but they do have the same themes and elements of the first one. They make it feel the same, but also with new additions. There's new superheroes. There's all these new additions of stuff, and but I will say this one thing about the movie. About that spoiling it, that the first act of the movie felt so rushed. It just felt fast. Like when they were fighting the Underminer. I'm not gonna say what happens, but it just felt whoa. It felt like it felt like it went way too fast. But again, that's just my opinion. Based on what I saw. But yeah, enough of me about my ranting. What do you guys think of what did you guys think? I think what do you, I mean, I don't think anybody else is saying it besides you and me. But what did you think of it?
I enjoyed it. It was definitely not. Some people are saying that it's a masterpiece, and that I don't think it was a masterpiece, but it was far from that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I am definitely going to be buying that when it comes on DVD.
Oh, yeah.
It was good. It's not an all-be-all masterpiece that everyone should always go and see if you don't even like the show. I think that, especially for people like us that have seen the original film and like most likely saw it in the theater, I remember watching the original theater with my parents. And my dad looked at me and he was like, that was damn good afterwards. Yeah. So for those of you that have already seen the original movie and like grew up watching it, I think you're going to enjoy it. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
It had a lot of callbacks. As the movie itself, it was good in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It had an amazing message for parents and whatnot, which also fit with the thing in front of it, the video that they had in front of it for Bow. And it made a lot of sense. And it was a beautifully crafted film with some amazing graphics. The villain in it wasn't exactly the best. Chris Stuckman, I know that I plugged him before. Freaking if Mr. Stuckman, if you ever do watch his channel, I mean, seriously, I'm like Boyd when she was mean and wants to go with him. I love it.
I will say this though, before we continue, I will say this though that the amazing part about Incredibles 2 was that almost all the voice actors came back. So the only voice actor that did not return, actually the only two voice actors that did not return were the Dash actor and then the Dicker actor. Dicker actor, he died, so they had to recast him. You can't really tell the difference, honestly. And the Dash actor, again, you can't really tell the difference. I mean, I couldn't even tell the difference. It's very similar voices. They're different voices, but they're just so similar. Yeah. They were the
to me, the guy that did Decker, he's done much older.
It's the exact same voice cast as the first one, except for a couple of adjustments. But I just feel like it was a wonderful film, and especially in the pre-message, they had a message from the cast saying it's been a while, 14 years. We know it's been a while, but it's worth it, and we're sorry, but here you go. And I'm glad they finally pulled it off, and they brought us the sequel we deserve, because when Disney or any company that makes a sequel, or an original movie, like in this case, when they make the end of the movie with a cliffhanger, and then years and years go by without any continued story, it's like it makes fans so angry. It's like, wait, what happens next? And they don't get that until like whenever they decide to make a sequel. And so the reason why this movie was such a good movie is because the cliffhanger was like there in the first movie. It's like, what happens next? What's gonna happen? Are they going as animator? We don't know. And they're finally make one. So I'm just really happy about it. So that's all I can really say about Incredibles 2. Wonderful movie. I'm really happy. It finally came out. I loved it. I loved it both times I saw it. The feature, and it was fantastic. So yeah. Moving on to a movie trailer that I know bigdinoguy has been wanting to have more of, because in general they haven't been the greatest movies, but some of them have been pretty good. So Bumblebee just had a trailer, and that's coming out in December, and it's basically about the Transformer called Bumblebee. It basically is origin story about how he came to Earth, I guess, and then It's supposed to be a prequel. I guess it comes to find where Optimus
I
Prime
love
is,
the
and he does not.
Volkswagen Bug.
He takes the form of a different car this time. I imagine he'll take the form of the car we saw in the first movie, but for now he's a different car and has Hilary Steinfeld or Steinfeld or whatever you call her name. She's this girl who encounters Bumblebee and basically becomes his friend. So, I mean, I don't know what to say about it, but it's not directed by Michael Bay, thankfully.
Thank fucking God.
He is not a good director. Like every Michael Bay movie, just like
Explosion!
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, Michael Bay is not the right kind of guy to.
But yeah, it has John Cena, in it, which is pretty
Wow,
cool. But
explosion!
yeah, what do you guys think of this trailer? If you've seen it or not? Any thoughts about it?
I think that it was fun. I hope to God that's good. And if so, then I hope that they can reinvigorate the franchise
Yeah.
in a decent way. I'm glad that Michael Bay is not attached to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was convicted, but regardless, I think that having the callback to his original form of the Volkswagen Bug, that was awesome to see. When I first saw the trailer, I was like, thank
Yeah.
Christ.
When I first saw the Bumblebee mask, it's the same mask, obviously. I mean, maybe a little bit different, but it's the same exact head. I'm like, yep. This is. I mean, I know the trailer. I know I'm touched the title. But I'm like, oh, this is the Bumblebee trailer. Okay. I'm like, yeah. But then of course, when you see the trailer in the theater, it's like no one else knows what the trailer is going to be. I wonder what this is going to be. Ooh. And it transforms beautifully. I mean, the previous movies, Transformers is pretty good. Like, they really know how to make a robot transform, especially a Transformers movie. And I've only seen the first 5 movies. Not all of them were good. Fourth one had an interesting story, but was boring as F. The fifth one was boring. The third one was entertaining. The second one was pretty okay. First one was pretty good. So all of them in general, they have their own goodness, but I feel like this isn't a reboot. This is more like a prequel story. But they need one. They need to explain things about like where characters came back. Bumblebee, the most popular Transformers character aside from Optimus Prime. And I mean, I'm not the biggest Transformers fan of them all, but I do enjoy the movie. I do like Transformers. I'm not a fan of them, but I like the movies. I do like them. I find them entertaining, and I definitely think that this one will be really fun because it's the first prequel, and it'll be telling more information about a character everyone loves, even if he speaks radio. Now, I don't think he'll be speaking radio. I mean, I don't even know. I think the reason why he speaks radio is because his voice box is broken. But the interesting thing about the trailer is that at the end of it, the girl basically puts in a tape that has the Rick roll on it. Rick Astley's, if you're going to give you a song from the 80s. And once that plays, he picks it up because apparently it sucks. So basically, it's just a really interesting movie. The only thing I will say about it is John Cena is in it. That's it. And really, I don't know really what to say about it, but I'm sure it'll be a lot better than the past movies because Michael Bay, as far as I'm concerned, Michael Bay only knows how to make Transformers movies with explosions in it. That's pretty much how he decides to tell a story. Like, okay, this movie's gonna have an explosion in it. There you go. Every time, every Transformers movie he makes, explosions are happening. And that's why they end up not doing so well.
Happen in Transformers, but not that much.
Yeah, but still, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. It comes out in December, I think. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
But still, I'm all for it. I think it's gonna be great. I'm not like looking forward to it out of all the movies this year, but I'm definitely gonna see it. I'm definitely looking forward to it as a movie from that universe. Blah, 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 blah. It's like not a movie that I'm like super hyped for. I'm just in general excited for it as a movie. Just not as a movie that I'm like, it's not like my favorite movie ever, but like it's definitely a movie that I will be like, ooh, kind of thing. It's gonna be something that I'll be happy to see when it comes out. But that's pretty much all I can say about Bumblebee. Anything else you had to say? I don't know if you've seen the trailer or not. Have you?
I have not.
Okay. Chakky?
Yes, I have, and
Yeah.
I spoiled because he was so goddamn cute.
Yeah?
What?
Talk about it. Let's hear it. What do you have to say about it?
I want to see that movie. I probably never will, but I want to see it because Bumblebee is so fucking cute. Bumblebee.
Yeah, you can watch it until Netflix comes out. They'll have enough when it actually. I think it
Yeah,
should
but
be.
the thing is, I can't be.
It should be like
on
next July when it comes out. So, because I know you don't see movies in the theater. So, let me know how when you see it on Netflix or whatever. Let me know what you think of it because I'll love to hear it. Yeah,
Also, another thing that I have to say on that regard was,
yeah.
thank God that they are going to bring back Starscream in his original form from the show.
Oh, yeah, Starscream. I
Starscream,
haven't seen the original show, but
he
I
was
have.
the guy that you saw flying through the
Yeah.
through the sheet. That
Yeah.
was awesome to see him.
That was
Starscream
cool.
one of my favorite characters.
Is he gonna be the
Starscream was
villain?
my second favorite character.
Is he gonna be the villain though?
My other favorite is Grimlock.
Yeah. I'm really excited for it.
It was awesome to see Starscream's original form again. I'm excited. I hope that they bring back some of the other characters in their original forms from the cartoons.
Yeah.
And I just hope that they finally do a good Transformers film.
Yeah.
The first Transformers, that was actually pretty decent. The second and third one, so, and god damn, that fourth.
But what do you think? What do you think the villain will be? Like, I know that, like the John Cena government is after Bumblebee, but like, what do you think the villain will be? Peeled
I think it's literally just an origin story on the character.
So
I think that most likely what's going to happen is...
Well, everything has to have a villain, otherwise there's no plot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and they're only going to be having, I think,
I mean,
maybe
even if
6.
it's just the emotions of a character.
I think
Yeah.
that they're going to have maybe 6 Transformers, like one Starscream, Bumblebee, and like 4 others. So I think it's going to be even playing field with all of them. But in recent years, Bumblebee, he has become a really popular character within the fandom.
Yeah, I've
Like
heard
more
that.
than usual as a leader, actually.
I've heard that Frank Welker, who voices Optimus Prime, that I've heard that he might be in the movie. He might cameo at the end or something like that. Because eventually he's gonna have to, be with the Autobots. I'm assuming that Optimus Prime will be making a cameo at the end of the movie. Like, I don't know. That's what I've heard. It could happen, but we'll have to wait until December, which is when the movie comes out. I don't know when in December, but December sometime. I think it just said this Christmas or something like that. So when it comes out, I'm sure we'll see
I think
more
it's
about
like December 25th.
Yeah. So
24th.
around when Christmas time is. So.
First! I can't talk.
So yeah, I think it'll be really fun. And just in general, John Cena. I don't know. Like, I feel like he's always good to have. He's a wrestler, but also he's an actor.
John Cena!
John Cena.
Well, that's what wrestling is. It's acting.
Yeah.
It's
But yeah,
John Cena.
Yeah, basically that's pretty much what I can say.
And it's acting.
Yeah. I think it'll be great.
Wait,
So
John?
if we're done with this topic, I will talk about the Lego Movie 2. I don't know if you guys are into that, but they're making a sequel to that coming on next February called The Lego Movie 2, the second part. I mean, I like Legos, and I think this will be really fun. I think it'll be really enjoyable, and I like Lego movies, and maybe the ones I've seen, like the Lego Batman movie and this one, but the second one, yeah, sure, I'll see it. I'm not like, I don't think it'll be the best ever, but like, it'll definitely, I'm not saying we need a sequel, but I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be definitely interesting. I feel like I'm on Steven's side where I don't really know what to say about it. I think when I see it, it'll probably be fun, but I don't know what to say about it. I just think it's cute. I think it's cute. I think that they have a new idea. They're doing more of these. I never saw the Lego Ninjago movie because I don't even care. But basically, I didn't even watch it. I'm like, oh, whatever. But yeah, Lego Movie 2, second part. Is that supposed to be like a pun, like a fourth wall break? Like the second part of it, or I don't know. It looks interesting, but yeah. And they're making a Dumbo movie that just got a trailer for. It looks really cute.
A what movie?
Dumbo movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that looks really cute. And also Christopher Robin is also coming out on August 3rd.
Oh, that's gonna be good.
Looks really, really amazing. And there's also a movie trailer that I saw while watching Incredibles 2 from the same producer as Stranger Things. Basically a movie called The Darkest Mind about these kids who develop strange abilities, and the government's like after them. It's basically like Stranger Things, except not. So if you ever watch Stranger Things, you'll like that. You'll have that same kind of effect. I don't know what else to really say about that. There's just a full trailer trailers. I don't want to talk about each trailer like. We'll talk about them, but it'll be like really quick. So
yeah.
I don't know what I can really say anything else except that I think so far I'm looking forward to the trailers that are coming out. They're gonna be really fun. I I don't know. What do you anything you're super excited about seeing this year? Because that's what we already talked about.
I don't know.
I think Christopher Robin's gonna be fun. I don't know about seeing in theaters.
Yeah.
Bumblebee, I'm looking forward to,
Oh, yeah,
but at the same time, I don't know if I'll see it in theaters.
Oh,
Bumblebee is one of those where I want to.
yeah.
I gotta be sure that
Yeah.
reviewers are enjoying it too,
Definitely.
because I've been burned too many times with Michael Bay's
Mhm.
Transformers movies, and if they did a good job, then hell yeah, I want to see it, because I want to see Transformers done right. Michael Bay screwed the pooch,
Yeah.
and it made Transformers into a laughing stock.
Yeah.
Yes, it literally was a half-hour toy commercial
Yeah.
for the incarnation.
Yeah.
But it grew into so much more afterwards. They fucked
Yeah.
it up royally. I think it does justice to what it needs, but at the
Yeah.
same time,
Definitely.
I'm not going to get burned again because of that. I'm not going to go and see a movie where unless I'm damn sure that I'm not
Yeah,
going
exactly.
to be burned.
Yeah. So real quick, I wanted to end the episode by talking about some of the games that they released, or they had given release dates and also just announced E3 that last week or something like that. Because I know this is about like movie shows and stuff like I'm pretty much running out of ideas for that. So they did announce a few games. Some of them didn't really get release dates, but they announced a new Halo title called Halo Infinity or Infinite. Not called Halo 6, but it's in the 6th game in the series. They dropped the number because it's kind of pointless. They didn't want to put the number anymore. Fallout 76 is coming out, which is the next Fallout game. It is actually a prequel to all the Fallout games before it. So if you haven't played a single Fallout game like I haven't, I've only played like 5 minutes of the first one, then it'll be a treat for me because it's a complete prequel. It's set before any other games. There's a lot of other really cool games coming out. There's Elder Scrolls 6 coming out eventually. They announced it. There is a Elder Scrolls mobile game coming out pretty soon. I think it might be already out soon. There's a game that's already been released. I've heard it's in beta right now. There's a couple of Nintendo titles. There's a Super Mario Party game coming pretty soon here. Let's see. I can't really think of what all they announced. I know that they have The Last of Us Part 2. I don't really want to play the game. There's a lot
I really want to
a lot
play
of
them.
games that they announced. They announced Gears 5. They announced Call of Duty Black Ops 4, which will have no campaign at all. It'll be completely multiplayer, which is kind of stupid, but I guess that's what they want to do. They're just cutting the campaign completely and making it has no story at all. The first Call of Duty Black Ops is going to have no story at all. They announced Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is going to be a sequel to the prequel called Assassin's Creed Origins, but it's a sequel to that game, so it's another game that's set before any other games, which is stupid because I'm only in the second game. I can't remember another game. Another they obviously had Incredibles 2 come out, but I can't remember another game that they released. They announced. And there's a lot of announcements. I will say that for this year's E3, it was the worst, at least for Bethesda and Microsoft. It was so bad. They had a game called Rage 2 that they showed off, and they had like two games that they showed off with a rock concert before. And I felt really bad because like we don't want a rock concert. We don't want the freaking game announcement. So they showed a rock concert for Rage 2, which looks really interesting. And they had a rock concert before that. Like, dude, give us the game. And they had another game called Last of Us 2, which had another little song before. It's like, we don't want the song of the game. But I think the only actual best E3 presentation was Nintendo. But the other ones were pretty bad and pretty cringy. And actually, I think one of the guys at Bethesda he looked like he was going to cry. It was that terrible. I mean, it wasn't the worst E3 of all time. I just think it was the worst E3 for those publishers because they just had a hard time. So, if you're a big, Microsoft fan, you like those. I'm still a little hesitant on this Halo title because they're calling it Halo Infinite. And I'm so mad right now. I'm like, they're not calling it Halo 6, they're calling it Halo Infinite, but it is a continuation of Master Chief's Journey because I haven't played Halo 5 yet, but they're calling it Halo Infinite, and they're basically just drop them. They have officially dropped the number. Halo 5 was the last one they used numbers with, and so basically, if you're a Halo fan, they're not numbering anymore. They are completely ditching the numbers. They just like saying goodbye to the numbers. So Halo.
I really don't mind that. Halo Reach, that one's fine. Not
Yeah.
as much because it is still going to be Halo 6.
Yeah.
Whether it's just Halo.
Yeah.
It's just Halo. It's a 6th game in that continuity. Halo 6, Halo Infinite, whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm still going to call it Halo 6 when I talk about it on here. I might talk about it as Halo Infinite. But frankly, nerds don't really care. This is the title.
Yeah,
It's the title for an awesome
I just-
game. The Halo Reach. Prequel to well,
Yeah,
doesn't it sound
I think it's to do with
Halo
like
prequel.
with
Still Halo Reach.
with numbering. Like they announced Battlefield 5, but they decided to call it V, not 5. They called it Roman numeral 5. It's like they went to the first like Battlefield 1942, Battlefield 2, 3, 4, Battlefield V. Same with Resident Evil. They went like the first 6 of them, and then decided to call it Resident Evil 7 with VII. Ugh, what the hell? I don't understand it. Like they had to do this. They also announced Just Cause 4 is that game where you're like this parachute guy. You can go around and blow things up. Gears 5, they just dropped the of War. I feel like game companies nowadays, they don't even want to know. They don't want to properly title their games anymore, and it's so annoying. I mean, I think a future topic in a few weeks maybe we can talk about it is video games almost a year. Like when they release a game that's almost a year, I can't handle it. And when we talk about it, I will talk about it in depth because it's just frustrating for me. But in general, I feel like with numbering games, it's a little bit better. I don't know. Do you think that numbering games is good, or do you think it's kind of you think it ruins the game series? I mean, I know that.
I don't think it's bad or good. I think that it makes it easier when you're trying to put everything into a collection a little bit more. But at the same time, as bad as this movie is, oh god, as bad as. So take the Alien series, for example.
Yeah.
It's Aliens with the F. Alien 3, then Alien Resurrection. Good.
Wow.
God, I hate that movie. Anyway, yes, the second and fourth one, they do not have actual names. And it doesn't sound uniform, but at the same time, when people are talking about Alien or Alien, it's still, you know that, hey, it is a sequel. It is its own thing.
Yeah.
So, it depends entirely on your style. Personally, I like having them, but at the same time, if it sounds better, like Aliens, I'm not going to call it Alien 2. I'm going to call it Aliens, because the first one, it only had 1.
Yeah.
This one, it has more than 6.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of like with Doom, because I haven't played the original Doom yet. I own it, but I haven't played it yet. When Doom 2, Roman numeral, Doom 3, numeric, which is basically a reboot, Doom, again, second reboot, and then they're calling it the new one Doom Eternal. It's just weird. And then, like, I mean,
Weird, but
it's just like,
at the
I
same
don't really understand it.
If you're a fan of it, then you're going to be like,
I'll play,
okay,
yeah.
this is what it is. But at the same time, if you're not, then good luck. Welcome to the fandom.
Exactly, yeah. But they also announced Crash. I mean, another Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, which was all released. But I don't think they announced it, but I think digitally they announced. Someone announced that Spyro the Dragon was getting remastered for the PS4 as a 3 game thing. I haven't played any. The only Spyro game I've played is the first of the reboots, which is the one for the GameCube. I've only played that one, not played other games, but so I think it's really interesting that they're remastering things, they're remaking things. And I feel like I don't know. Do you think that remakes are kind of pointless for video games? I'm not talking about movies because movies don't get remade a whole lot except for Disney. But for video games, do you think that remakes should stop? I feel like I'm getting tired of it, actually.
It depends on your style. Personally,
Yeah.
I don't have the okay. So take it from me, I am a huge mega nerd,
Yeah.
but the most up-to-date console I've ever owned, I've said this on the show before, is the 360, which I'm actually playing right now.
Yeah.
I mean, before then, the most recent game, the PS3, I was playing that 3 years after it came out. I only had a couple of PS2 games that, again, I got when I was pretty much obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
There's only a couple of the games, but aside from that, no. like maybe one or two, if that. So
Yeah.
for me, because I haven't had a chance to play those other ones, I'm looking forward to when I can finally play my favorite games when I do have those consoles. But if you have the money to spend it, go for it. I encourage you to. I would absolutely love to have an Xbox One so I could play the Halo Master Chief Collection.
Exactly.
I want to play the original Halo game, a remastered version of it with some of the most badass graphics, because it's an amazing game.
Well,
I'd even more love to play with Halo 2. But at the same time,
it's just like, ugh.
I don't have those consoles.
Yeah. I haven't
So
played yet.
to me, if you want to, more power to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. But
You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, I just feel like with like, for example, with the Pokemon games and also any Nintendo games, like they remade Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time for 3DS, and I was infuriated because I had just beaten the original on the before. I'm like, okay, I finally beat it. Yay! New remake announced. Really? And then they announced remakes for Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, which would be called Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Where I was also very annoyed because I'm like, I have Pokemon Emerald, which combine the first two storylines. What the hell? And it's just like, I know Nintendo does a lot, but also there are other companies who do the exact same thing with their remake things. Like, why? I mean, to people, I think it's the reason for these remakes from different companies, whether it be Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft. They do it for so people who haven't experienced those games can experience it in a whole new dimension on a new console, like a new generation of console. That's what they do it. But I still feel like it's unnecessary because some games you don't really need to remake. They're good on their own. But I don't think that the remakes are going to stop. I just feel like it's annoying when they do it because it's like we don't need remakes all the time. But they're still somewhat useful because there are seeing games like Spyro, Crash, where I haven't played the original games, maybe one game from that series, and I played the originals, and I'm perfectly fine with them remaking it because I haven't played the original games. And it's like, oh, they were like 20 years old. Like I was a baby when I was 20 years old. It's for 20 years ago. I was like 2, so basically 20 years ago. So I couldn't have played that. I haven't played the original Half-Life game. I have the Black Mesa game. I'm waiting for them to release the final part so I can play it. But I never played Half-Life 1 fully or any of the Half-Life games. And that's the thing. Like I haven't played them. I have played sort of Valve game, but I haven't ever played Half-Life 1 fully. But it's kind of like with Half-Life 3 that they're not making another one, but I have heard that because Valve isn't making any more games, that that a fan is going to take the story that they had for Half-Life 3 and basically make a a fan game, but like take it as story and make it their own, kind of like with the Black Mesa team, where they have recreated the first one. So I think that's the same idea where Half-Life 3 will happen. It just won't be for Valve. Like it'll be a fan creation. So, but that's the thing. It's the thing with remake is like, I don't mind it all the time, but it kind of makes it annoying because sometimes I don't want it because I've already beaten the game. But I don't know. It's still really annoying. But also, real quick, I want to wrap up with Fallout 76, and this is a game that I was like a little hesitant because I'm like, wait, we just got Fallout 4, another one, and it turns out I didn't need to worry because again, this is a prequel. But the really, really interesting thing about this game is that not only is it twice as big as Fallout 4, if anyone has ever played Fallout 4, I haven't, but the fact that it'll be that Fallout 76, and people are like, oh wait, they're skipping like 74 of them or whatever, and it turns out that it was actually because Vault 76 is the name of Vault 76, which is the first vault you're in, which is set, it's the first thing you're in before the events of Fallout 1, which is really interesting. So that'll be the first game I play in the Fallout series because it's actually a prequel. And a lot of game developers do that, but not all of them. Like Halo Reach did it, and they had a prequel. So I don't know. I feel like prequels are really good because especially if you've never played a single game in that franchise, it's really, really it's really helpful for that. But I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know if you've seen the trailer for Fallout 76, but what do you think of the trailer and what do you think of the game overall? Are you excited for it? Do you think it's time or I don't know?
Look,
I haven't seen the trailer. Haven't really played the games. I played one. It was fun, but
yeah,
not always.
I haven't played any of the games.
I enjoy the series and its lore, but I don't I haven't been able to play enough of it,
Yeah.
so I can't tell you.
Okay.
One day I would love to play them, but it's just not really. It's not something that really calls me, you know.
I think for me, because I kind of in your same boat. For me, it's the fact that I just haven't gotten around to it. I have the first game. I played like 5 minutes of it. It's not that I got bored of it. It's just the fact that I couldn't figure it out. So I might come back later. But like, it's one of those games where it's like everyone else on the planet, besides maybe a few friends of yours, has played the game, but the only one who has never played a single game. And it's like there's this new game that's kind of like, wait, what is this game? It's like I've never played it before because I haven't played it, and it's like it's not my fault that I haven't played it. It's like I don't know what to do. It's like, and then I realized that like now that I'm talking to you guys, I realize that you guys also haven't played these games either. So I don't feel as alone because like everyone's played these games. Not everyone. Like bigdinoguy, my friend, he's never played Fallout before. That's good because I don't have to worry about being the only one who hasn't played Fallout yet. But I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be really interesting. I'm excited for it because it'll be because again people are like getting thrown up by this whole title like Fallout 78. Really, they're still like several of them. It's like no, they're taking the Vault 76 location and putting it on the title. I don't think it's meant to be thrown out. I still think it's really interesting. So that's all I really can say about that. E3 was weaker this year. Definitely, it wasn't as good as it was last year. Because the only one that was actually somewhat decent was Nintendo, and I think maybe even Sony a little bit. But I think they announced they had more gameplay for Spider-Man PS4, which looks awesome. The game looks insane. I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and I think that's gonna be a really good game. But I think the only really good presentation was Nintendo because they just pre-record their gameplay stuff. So they don't need to worry about anything. So. Yeah, that's all I can say. I don't really. I haven't seen you guys have anything to say about the games that were announced. Do you at all?
My thing is, for Halo, I've played those games. I've played every single game except for the ones that basically look over the top of everything. I haven't played those ones because I don't like that kind of style.
Halo's part of Assault, Halo's parts right. Yeah, I'm playing Bioshock right now actually.
But anyway, I played all the other first-person shooter ones. I played Halo 2 more than enough times. I love the series. It's been really personal to me as well because of the memories I have playing it with one of my best friends, and it's been an amazing series for me for a long time. I don't know if I really like the art style that they're going with for the new Halo Reach trailer. I don't really enjoy that look of the Chief, but who knows? If it's a good game, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think
make sure that it's a good game that's worthwhile. You know,
I think the reason why they took them so long to make another Halo game, and I think they're actually pushing it to next year, is because they're working on a new engine for the game. That's why they haven't heard anything about a new Halo game, and then they just announced a new one. Because, again, they're working on rebuilding their engine, making a completely new one. So that's basically why. But that's pretty much all I can say. I don't know, Steven, Zoe, do you have anything you want to talk about for the games that were released? Or announced? Okay. Alright, I'm not going to force it, but I'm just curious to know. But yeah, I think that's all I can really say about that, and I think that's all I really had for this episode. Is there anything else you guys wanted to discuss, or what?
We're good.
Okay. Alright, well, I think that's going to do it for this episode. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Madhouse. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. We all really appreciate the support. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe for more podcasts like this and other great content that I do, and all the other series that I do, of course. And also make sure you subscribe to bigdinoguy and Chakky. The link to those channels will also be in the description. And we'll be back next time with another episode. Alright, bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.